Hi, this is Gerald Salenti. It's Thursday, November 9th, 2017. And here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, over there in Asia, boop, Nikkei down a little bit. Europe not so good. Everybody's down. And down here in the States as well. Dow's down about 100 points. Nasdaq's down. Oil's up. Gold's up. Bitcoin down. So what happened here in the States? Dow finishes 101 points lower. Traders feel delay in tax cuts. Yeah, the tax cut program isn't that good. A lot of people don't like it, and it's not going anywhere so far this year. That's the word coming out. Remember, about 1 year ago, that's right, today's Thursday. A year ago, Wednesday, the Trump rally began. And what was it based on? Tax cuts, infrastructure spending, and get rid of them regulations there that stop businesses from getting bigger. Yep, so no infrastructure spending bills at all of anything to add up. It's a big zero. The tax thing isn't working now. And already traders feel insecure about the market. This could be big. This could be the beginning of a downdraft. So, what else is going on? The earnings still came in better than expected, according to FactSet. 73% of S&P 500 companies that have reported earnings have surpassed expectations. So that's where we're at right now. But there's global unrest going on, particularly out of the Middle East. If something happens, this market could really shake. So again, we do not give financial advice. We are trend forecasters, speaking only for myself. This is a safe haven asset time of consideration. U.S. crude. Brent closed up a bit higher. You know why? What have we been saying? Go back to your trend alert, trend alert. Saudi war drums, gold, oil, cryptocurrency prices to spike. That's what we said. And we gave you all the reasons why in this trend alert, why oil prices are going up. Not only supply and demand has changed a bit, but the big one is the crown prince. That's right. Looks like his father's getting sicker and sicker. One of the reasons oil prices went up today is that Junior, the 32-year-old crown prince, is going to become the king in charge. So, a de facto king. Anyway, there's concern going on in the Middle East. It's driving up prices, but there's also the downward pressure. As we said, current events form future trends. You got the wild cards. This is a wild card. We said that oil prices would stay between 60 to 45 bucks. They're over that because of the wild card. Because when you start looking at the facts coming in, more supply than demand. U.S. crude production rose 67,000 barrels per day to 9.6 million barrels per day. Texas issued 997 oil and gas drilling permits last month, up nearly 17% versus the same period a month ago. What we're saying is as the prices go up, more supply comes out, demand doesn't take it out. But now what's going to bring it up is the geopolitical unrest. And remember, the Saudis need oil at $100 a barrel for their government budget to break even. Here, check out this chart. So check it out. The numbers don't lie. They're in trouble. It's even lower than it was in 2006, the amount of money that they were earning. So they're doing everything they can to drive up the price, and they're not alone. Macri calls for U.S. to ban all Venezuelan oil exports. This is the Argentine president. Who the hell is he to say what we should do? Well, he's one of the gang. Quote, I think we should go to a full oil embargo, Macri said. Oh, we? Things have gotten worse and worse, meaning down in Venezuela. It's really a painful situation. Poverty is going up every day. Sanitary conditions are getting worse every day. Poverty's bad? Hey, moron, and you want to put sanctions on them so the people suffer more, or so that the deep state could change the state of affairs in Venezuela? Because if you want poverty to get worse, go with your sanctions, sonny. And how about those liberal Democrats in the United States? They wanted to. Senator Bill Nelson, the Democratic representative of Florida, on Tuesday wrote an open letter to the U.S. Treasury Secretary urging him to impose tougher sanctions on the Venezuelan regime and to also consider banning its oil imports. Hey, Nelson, mind your own damn business. Stay out of other countries' affairs, Junior. Like all of you little political clowns here and around the world. Gold, beep, up a bit. Not a lot, but again, destabilization is what's driving it up, and the dollar got a little bit weaker. And Bitcoin. Bitcoin today hit almost 7,900 bucks. And then it went down, closed down. You know why? Well, the reason it spiked was Bitcoin dodges split that threatened surging price. On Wednesday, a group of business proposing a new version of Bitcoin software backed off their plans to release it. The software would have roughly doubled the network's processing capacity. So, going back to cryptocurrencies, you only could produce so much. But you could produce all of the pesos, the yen, the yuan, the dollars, the euros, and the pounds, and the rubles, and the liras that you want. That's why, again, in this time of uncertainty, and again, look at your trend alert. Trend alert. Yep, cryptocurrencies are part of what we're talking about as a safe haven asset in a time of global instability. Sears. Department store. Sales at existing stores plunged 17%. Sales at Kmart stores dropped 13%. And this is after they closed tons of stores, over 100. Again, let's go back. Oil prices go up, the economy goes down, because in America, the people got no dough. Don't believe me? The three richest people in the United States, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett, own as much wealth as the bottom half of the U.S. population, or 160 million people. You know the numbers. 78% of the people living paycheck to paycheck. Most people don't have even $500 in the bank. 51% of full-time workers are earning $30,000 a year or less. 96% of all the stocks being owned are in the hands of the 10%. The other people that own them in the so-called middle class have a grand total of owning about $15,500 worth, compared to the top 10% that over $350,000 worth of stocks. And U.S. demands CNN sale as price to AT&T Time Warner approval. The sale of CNN, which President Donald Trump has fiercely criticized as a broadcaster of fake news is just one of the demands being made by the U.S. Antitrust Authority in order to sign off on the deal. There is no antitrust authority. That's why so few own so much. That's why the Walmarts, the Targets, the Googles, the Facebooks, you name it, go up and down the list. Pick your industry. It's banking, you name it, it's owned by a few. There is no antitrust. All these little slimeball politicians got paid off, killed the Robinson-Patman Act, Sherman Antitrust Act, Clayton Antitrust Act that prohibited the three to own as much as the half and much more. And what else do we have over here? Yes. As we're saying, your next Trends Monthly is going to be reporting it, as well as your top trends. We're seeing a slowdown. The economy, like the fish, this time is rotting from the head down. Here in New York, Manhattan retail landlords sweeten offer for tenants. Average asking rents for ground floor retail space fell more than 13% in the third quarter, and it's down 30% from their peak in 2014. So there you got it. This thing is slowing down. We have geopolitical turmoil, economic uncertainty, goes the markets, the 10% correction. And what else do we have over here on the international front? U.S. will have 16,000 troops in Afghanistan by early next year. Isn't that wonderful? More troops in a losing battle that is going on now 16 years. 16 years, 16,000 troops. Yep. And no end in sight. And how much did it cost us since the war on terror began? Almost $6 trillion. Could you imagine if that money was invested in the United States rather than investing in slaughtering millions of people and destroying nations around the world and enriching the military-industrial complex? Syrian troops seize last ISIS stronghold. The Syrian military has announced that troops backed by the Shia militias have successfully captured Abu Kamal, the ISIS-held city on the main border with Iraq and the last stronghold of ISIS fighters in the country. Hey, but wait a minute. Remember what Obama said? Yeah, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner? Yeah, go back to October 2015 when Russia got involved. He said Russia was going to get stuck in a quagmire. Guess you were wrong. Oh, and the Shia? That's right. The Shia are from Hezbollah and Iran. And that's why the Crown Prince is declaring war against Iran and Lebanon, because the wars that Saudi Arabia and the Arab Little League launched against Syria, they lost. And they're still slaughtering people in Yemen, but nobody cares. Blockade puts Yemen at risk of famine. Saudi Arabia's 3-day-old blockade of entry points to Yemen threatened to plunge the war-ravaged country into a famine that could starve millions of people, according to the United Nations. And the World Food Program, the anti-hunger agency of the United Nations, which has been feeding 7 million people a month in Yemen, is now unable to do so. What we need is a winding down of the blockade to save the lives of those people. They go on to say the country is struggling with an acute hunger crisis that has affected at least 17 million people, more than a third of them considered close to famine. And of course, they have a cholera outbreak that's hit over 1 million, supported by the United States. And if you support the United States in supporting Saudi Arabia in this war, you are an accessory to the crime. Just like if you know someone's going to murder someone and you give them the guns to do it. This is an outrage, but the United States is loudly supporting Saudi Arabia with bullets, bombs, words, and deeds. This thing is heating up. The Saudis are losing their power, and they're going after Iran and Lebanon, and the power-hungry Crown Prince looks like he'll soon be in charge. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.